How did you get started with coaching?
I was studying at Hartbury College, studying my sports science degree, and I got injured very early in my career, but I was still able to train with the first team, and I was still explosive and still running and jumping. And so as I was learning the stuff on my degree, I started actually applying it with the training of the group, and I started coaching a women's rugby team. And some of those guys and girls have progressed on to senior 15s, and some of the boys I worked with at Hartbury have gone on to play for first team for Gloucester, for England and for England Sevens. So I started in rugby, started around learning for myself as an athlete, then actually evolved into coaching.
And what are some of the differences between training with the rugby lot to training with strictly athletics lot?
I think it's the time. I think we've got more time. The preparation for rugby, let's say, if you're lucky, you've got 12 weeks. If you haven't gone away and played for England or something, you've had a full pre-season, you've got 12 weeks to do the prep, and then by August you're playing off-season games. Whereas in athletics, it's almost the other way around. We have 32 weeks. For me, this is week 32, and we've just about started to compete. So the preparation period is longer in athletics. The mindset is a bit different as well. It's no stone unturned. We try to make sure we get everything, every ounce of every component, every training component. Whereas in rugby, you can probably get away with being 85% fit, and that's generally the game. You're broken, your shoulder, ankles. You played Wednesday, maybe Saturday. So the constraints are very different.
And what's it like training for a young group of men and seeing them progress?
I think it's amazing. I think these guys come in and a lot of them think they're talented and they've come from good backgrounds, but they actually turn up and they realize their careers are just beginning. There's a lot more to learn. There's so much we talk about in terms of nutrition and recovery and regeneration and general lifestyle, and there's so much that I think the youth of today don't get exposed to at school, that we have to coach, that we have to teach, that we have to train, and watching them develop over time is amazing.
And what are some of the different philosophies that you put into your training compared to what you see in other camps?
I mean, I did my master's thesis on Dan Pfaff, and so from a very early stage in my coaching career or my coach development, I was learning from the best in the world. And you look at his network, and he learned from Tom Tellers, and Tom Tellers coached Carl Lewis. So it's like the lineage of information passing, from Tom to Dan to myself and other coaches. And I've studied. I like to think I've studied the best coaches in the world and tried to take from them all the good components, and then come back to my own philosophy, and try to incorporate it all together into one amalgamation.
And when you've taught someone technique and you've seen them do that in practice, how does that make you feel as a coach?
Happy. When you see the fruits of your labor, you're always happy. The guys have got a joke. When will I cry? They're like, okay, if we get to the Olympic final, we get an Olympic medal, will you cry? I'm like, I don't know. There's so many things that I want to accomplish as a coach that running fast isn't just one of them. I want these guys to leave me and be good people and be able to move on past the athletics career and have another component to work on. So, the small victories are good, the fast times, the improvements, they're all good, but I think my judgment of if I've done well as a coach is a bit bigger than that.
And out of the lads in your group, in your sprint group, who do you think's the ones to watch? If you had to pinpoint a few.
I think they're all very important to watch. I think at different times. I mean, I've had Chindu Uja for 3 years now, and he understands the system. He understands the technical model we're trying to run, and so he himself and Jermaine Ollison would know me the most and would understand the system the most. So I expect those two to do very well. But we've had new intake this year. Some very talented athletes have done well before, but they've come into the system. They realise actually there's still a lot more to learn. So I can imagine the likes of all of them doing very well in the senior group and the junior group.
Are there any constraints with the training, as in terms of funding or facilities or?
I mean, prior to this season, I was contracted by UKA to be an apprentice coach, and it was a great opportunity to work alongside Dan and work towards the Olympics. But now, British Athletics have moved out of Lee Valley and moved over to Loughborough, and I'm no longer contracted by UKA. But being a professional coach still needs to go on. Having a professional group, a full-time group, still needs to go on. So yeah, we're looking for funding. We're looking for a group of people that can support us over the next 3 to 4 years up to Olympics in London 2012, or London World Champs in 2016.
And say a sponsor was listening to the conversation, what would you say to them to ensure that, well, like to pitch to them that you get sponsored?
Okay, well, I think when you're looking at high performance teams, you look at elite training and you look at elite processes, you want to have a great environment, you want to have the talent, and you want to have a very high work ethic. And you can see that in good organizations, you can see that within the army, you can see that in great restaurant chains that take over the world. And I think what I know now, we have that right here. Within the kids that I have right now, and within the system that we're trying to develop here, we have the best talent in the country, the best developing talent that is actually proving it via performances. You look at any Olympic medalist, you look at anyone who performs at the highest level, and they tend to need about 3 to 6 years with the same coach, staying healthy and continually progressing. And I think we're at that very beginning of that stage, and if you look around, everyone knows it. So having the support to have the right nutritionist, sports psych, sports medicine team, to get the guys to be able to go to warm weather camps and have health insurance, and to support me so I can fully engross myself into the system would enable us to go to major champs and seniors and succeed.
And London 2012, obviously the thing there that they want to push is legacy. Has that helped you guys, or has there been a legacy with the coaching?
I think there's a lot going on within UK athletics and British athletics at the moment, and there are a lot of cynical people talking about British athletics, but as an ex-employee, I can actually say that with the apprentices program, it was great. I believe that we as coaches, as developing coaches, we are the legacy of London 2012. They brought in Dan Pfaff, and they brought in other experts from around the world, and we have learned from them and retained the knowledge. So I feel the legacy is good coaching and knowledgeable coaching. So we are the legacy at the moment, and how are we going to give back to the country but to produce the talent? So London 2012 did leave a legacy in elite coaches, and it's important for us to keep on pushing and bring these kids through.
And final question, what do you think makes a good coach?
And a desire to learn, a continual desire to learn. I've talked about no stones unturned, so it's looking at all the components in training, all of the sciences. It's looking at your program and continually reflecting, and never believing you've arrived. If you never believe you've arrived, then you'll continually progress.